to one and all. So, in today's world where social media, influencers, memes, brand campaigns play such a vital role in our lives, it is very important to address each one of them and their legal aspects when it comes to free speech, hate speech, and the purview of right to freedom of speech. In today's generation, you might post something before going to bed, and tomorrow you might just become a social media sensation. The power of social media is real, and that is what we are here to talk about today. I am Ayush Sharma, a PGDM student at IMT Ghaziabad, and today, to address this discussion, I have with me Mr. Chandan Kamra. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you guys for having me. So, as you said, my name is Chandan Kamra. I am a lawyer. I have been working in multiple jurisdictions in US, in Europe, and in India as well. So, I think we can have a good conversation about whatever goes around.
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today. So, Mr. Chandan, again, a very hearty welcome to our podcast. And let us just shift our attention straight up to the center of all the free speech debates, which is the influencers of today. You must have heard about the India's Got Latent controversy that happened lately.
Yeah.
And I also think that that was one incident which sparked a big outrage in the country. So, what are your views on it?
So, when we talk about influencers, they're influencers because they have gained a public eye. So, whenever something is spoken in a public eye, whenever there's anything being speak, if a person is speaking anything, be it an influencer, so there is an accountability for that statement. It comes into the public eye. So anything that should be posted or spoken about should have a factual check. Should ethical, if it's ethical or not, if it's hurting someone's sentiment or not. So in that controversy, I guess all of these factors were neglected. That's why there was an outrage. So yeah.
Very, very true. I almost agree to everything that you've said. Also, another follow-up question is: do you think influencers of this generation, maybe if you call them the Gen Z influencers, are hiding or saying things that are not supposed to be said under the shadow of personal opinion and freedom of speech?
So when you have followers, when you have that public reach, your statements are like a public statement. So there is a public opinion, there is my own opinion, but if somebody is going on to Instagram live and saying something, that is a public statement in a way.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
free speech is there, but it is limited. You have to have your facts corrected. You cannot defame anybody. You cannot speak, bad about anybody. So there is free speech, but obviously it's limited because diversity, because of the jurisdiction. Because if anything is said in maybe in US, there can be parts where that statement is not treated, so close to heart.
Yes.
But in India and in Europe, so it completely depends on what are your target audience, what's your public like. But with regards to law, there are legal consequences for everything if said in a bad manner, if you're defaming anybody, if you're not having your facts corrected. So there is free speech, but there are restrictions to free speech as well. You just can't say anything and everything about anybody. So yeah.
Very well put up. Just one more question related to the same conversation would be I think in the India's Got Latent episodes, there were multiple things from right from the first episode that were being said, be it based on the LGBTQIA community, be it on some sort of autism, autistic people, be it about some mental disorders, sensitive topics like these. But why was this one topic the one that came out to the media or became the reason for the public outcry?
See, so it was a comedy show,
Yes.
right? So if you are going to a comedy show, you're signing up for it. If you are saying that you'll be going on that stage where other comics are there and they want to just roast you or trash you, you're signing up for it. I remember there was a guy on a wheelchair. He was there and he was making jokes about himself.
Yes.
And I don't think it was taken in a otherwise manner. But if people are coming there, they're making their jokes on themselves, and the other people are also making jokes. The outrage is not about opinion here. It can be about what is said. Like you mentioned, autistic person. He was there, and they were making jokes about him. People have sentiments, and the larger group of people, the larger the sentiments. If you speak about religion, it can obviously harm sentiments. But that specific episode, it hampered a larger group of audience because one influencer among the many was sitting there. He mentioned something about parents, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So that I think that has a very conflicted interest between so many people, and he said those things in not a right manner.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very informative. So now that we have had a whole conversation regarding the influencers part, it is also apt that we address the meme culture that is going around. That is also a very vital aspect of the social media content that we happen to see in our day-to-day lives every day. Recently, there was an incident regarding Mamta Banerjee where a meme regarding the chief minister was shared over social media by a fellow resident from Calcutta who was also a student at the Delhi University. She was taken into custody by the Calcutta police here in Delhi and was taken back to Calcutta. This is the only information publicly available as of now. We didn't hear much about it. But do you think was it her right to share that meme, or are we not allowed to have that freedom of expression while we are entering the meme culture?
I am also not very much aware about this instance. As we know, there is only limited amount of information available. Satire can be protected under law, but there is so much that can be protected. When something is shared, I think the meme was shared on a public platform.
Yes.
So obviously, if she's a politician, big I in India, so if anything is being shared on a public platform about a politician, and if it is the content is a little defamatory, or if it can spark any outrage, then obviously, as I said, satire can be protected only in a limited manner. That's why she was prosecuted in a way. She was, I guess, jailed. I don't know. I don't have much knowledge about it, but she was taken away, like you said. So yeah, I mean, you should. So whenever people are posting anything about any public figure or anyone, there, if even if I am posting anything on social media, my social media, and you are there on my social media, then I would be very reluctant in posting anything which can defame your identity.
So, for the influencers of today, if you had to give them three golden rules of posting online, where what comes under hate speech and what comes under free speech is being addressed, what would those be?
There's a very fine line between that. Free speech can be hate speech. So check your facts. If you what you're speaking is actually factually correct or not,
Yes.
so that you are not saying anything which can be defaming anybody else. And you should know what you're saying. You should know if that what you're saying can hurt someone else's sentiments or not. So if you're following this, I think you could to go.
So now that we've had a whole conversation regarding the influencers and the meme culture, it is also important to address the various campaigns that come under the free speech, hate speech plethora as a whole. So I don't know if you know, but there was a campaign in the States where uh, Sydney Sweeney's Jeans campaign, it was called. Yeah, it was a very, very, very big outrage again on that also. So, do you think the countries in maybe in the European Union or the states, they handle things differently when it comes to free speech, hate speech, when it comes to India.
Yeah, they do. It's not about free speech here, or this is not about hate speech here. This is about advertising. I'd start with legal and cultural sensitivity. The culture in US and in Europe is much more lighter than what we have in India, because obviously you know why. So that the Sydney Sweeney thing is basically not related to free speech and hate speech. It is more about advertising. It is more about how the brand, how Sydney Sweeney is positioning her own product. So legally, I don't think in US or in Europe there's going to be any backlash onto this. But when we speak about India, a lot a lot of advertising taglines have had good backlashes. You must have heard about the Fair and Lovely one.
Yes.
So ACSI, if I'm not wrong, Advertising Council of India. So they do have some guidelines that brand has to follow. If they are not following it, then they should be ready to answer. And by answering, obviously, if there is a group of people whose sentiments are hurt, they can obviously file a complaint. So they should be ready to actually answer in court. That is why Fair and Lovely tagline, I don't remember it exactly on top of my head. It was changed to something else.
Glow and Lovely.
Glow and Lovely. Yeah.
But do you think, since you mentioned the Fair Lovely example, do you think that since this was a very racist, some sort of comment which came back to the skin color,
Yeah.
since the United States also have a lot of racism topics going around, always it has been since eternity. Do you think if the campaign would have been launched in the States, would they face the same backlash that it happened?
I
in
have
India?
no idea. I have not been to US. I know people there, but I don't think it would have created the same backlash. Maybe more, maybe less. Who's to say? Because obviously racism is there. People are already dealing with it day to day life. So anything can happen there. Anything can happen. Even a small ant can create a big mountain of plethora and every dimension. So a lot of things can happen.
Especially when the brands are under so much scrutiny nowadays when
Yeah.
it comes to social media
Yeah.
law also.
Yeah.
So since you mentioned that ASCI regulates the advertisements that are campaigns that go around in India, do you think brands that are powerful enough feel that let us just put this campaign ahead and let us see if it blows up, we'll see what we can do about it. There's more of power in place than thinking about the ethical considerations of the speech that they are putting across.
So power play is already there in Indian market when it comes to advertising. So basically, the advertising council, they don't hold the law, but they do make the regulations. So if big brands are just making any taglines, so they would be sitting back and waiting for some outrage to happen or any spark to go on. And if they do have that in back of mind, then they would have some pivotal answers for that. And if they don't, then they are ready to face those consequences in the court of law.
So now that we have had a wholesome discussion about so many aspects which come under the scrutiny of freedom of speech or free speech versus hate speech, it is also apt to address the artificial intelligence which is coming up and up with the times, and it is here to stay. So, do you think there will be a time in the future where AI will, like the offender for a free speech, hate speech confusion, cannot be a human?
So I work very closely with the intersection of law, technology, and artificial intelligence, and this is already happening. If you've noticed, there are deep fakes happening.
Yes.
All the big Bollywood stars, there are deep fakes happening. They have been faking their images and their videos in a very gruesome manner,
Yes.
and there is only so much I can also speak about it. And with regards to artificial intelligence, so what happens is there is a computer system. It learns on its own. The coder has already put in the code, and it's running on the back end. So when it's running on the back end, it's taking its own inputs and it's giving some outputs. So when it's giving those outputs, that is just a machine. So it does not know that much what can be ethically said, or what can be a satire, or what quantity of a speech can be protected under law. So if maybe for say any brand comes with a tagline which is very foolish of them to say, then that can have a huge backlash. But if we speak about who can be held responsible, we don't know that, because law is ever evolving, and with regards to artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence, the law is still evolving, especially in India. Europe is somewhat there where they can, justify who's to be held accountable. But with regards to India, we don't have that amount of, clarity of who can be held accountable. But maybe in near future we'll have that kind of a law as well, where we can say the coder or the programmer, or maybe the one who's actually approving that kind of a content can be held responsible. They can be held responsible right now also, but again, there are defenses. There are so many things one can say in their own defense and can maybe escape that line of prosecution.
It was really an informative answer. And with this, we come to the end of our discussion. I would really want to mention that it was great listening to your views on such an important topic for today's generation. I also feel that our viewers will get a lot of information and will get a lot to learn from it. So, very happy to have you today with us.
Thank you so
And thank you so much for joining us.